thank you again very much for coming to this press conference. On behalf of the People's Response, I would like to say that this has taken many months of planning and work to organize these events to mark the dedication of the Bush Presidential Library here in Dallas. It is a historic event, and we wanted to make sure that we are here standing on the street, adding our voice to what will come out of the events at the Bush Library. We stand here for the hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians who lost their lives needlessly in a war of aggression that was committed by George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. We are standing here for the 5,000 American soldiers who died in that needless and futile war. We're standing here for the 30,000 American soldiers who returned from that war maimed with disabilities and PTSD, many of whom still are waiting to get treatment from our government. We are standing here, the main reason we are standing here today is that we believe that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney in the war of aggression against Iraq committed war crimes and crimes against humanity and must be held to account. They must be brought to trial, they must be arrested and given a fair trial. That is the only way forward. That is the right thing for us to do. We are a nation of laws. There is nobody in this country that is above the law. These people are war criminals and must be held accountable. I have two speakers with me today that will address this press conference. I'm going to turn over right now to our good friend Jody Evans. She's the founder or co-founder of Code Pink. Here's Jody Evans.
Thank you for coming today. We have a coalition of anti-war activists that had been in the streets before the invasion of Iraq and have continued to be in the streets over the last 10 and a half years. And this has been organized over 2 years. A local Code Pink activist, Leslie, has pulled it all together, pulled a coalition together of people that have come from across the United States. Why? Because we want to ask the question, how much concrete does it take to cover up the lies, to cover up the cost of lives, of Iraqi lives, to cover up the cost of destroying an entire country? We watched Boston and we felt the grief of what happened at the Boston Marathon with an IED. We created the conditions for that to happen every day in Iraq. Just since Boston, 20 IEDs have been exploded in the streets of Iraq, 45 people have been killed, 180 wounded. That there is someone who lied us into this war, who lied us globally into this war. Other countries have paid this price, that does not even apologize, that still thinks what he did is right, and that a celebration of that person is going to happen here in Dallas, Texas. Many of us had to come and say, shame, how can we do this? How can we do this to ourselves? How do we do this to the psyche and the soul of the American people? How do we do it to people globally who look on in appalled that we as American citizens would be celebrating a person that has caused this much damage and that would have tortured? A recent study just came out, a bipartisan study, shocked at the level of torture that has come out in this investigation. This is illegal, immoral, unconstitutional, and we are here to witness it and to shine a light on it and say, you know, this is a library that has been named after a man who added too much color to the world, too much violence, too much heartbreak, and has left us with the conditions for even more terrorism than we experienced in 9/11. One of my heroes is a woman who resigned from the State Department the day that she heard that Bush was going to invade an innocent country. She could no longer represent this country as a diplomat, and that is retired Colonel Ann Wright.
Thank you. Thanks. I was in the U.S. military for 29 years and retired as a colonel. I was also in the U.S. State Department for 16 years and resigned 10 years ago, almost to the day, in March of 2003 in opposition to the decision of President Bush and his team to invade and occupy an oil-rich Arab Muslim country that had not attacked the United States and had nothing to do with 9/11. In the successive 10 years, we now see what has happened because of the decisions of the Bush administration on wars of choice, on their decisions of torturing people, of decisions of maintaining, putting people in Guantanamo in indefinite detention with no trials. We still have 166 people that are in Guantanamo 12 years after Guantanamo was opened, and 80 of them now on hunger strikes. It is so important that we hold government officials accountable. I was a government official for 40 years, and let me tell you, if you let the big guys get away with murder, with torture, that means that the little guys down in the State Department, down in the military, they're going to be saying, we can get away with torturing people, we can get away with kidnapping people. So it is so important that we as citizen activists, citizens, are here on the week that George Bush's presidential library is going to open, to say that we do not agree with his policies and to say that we will continue to press for accountability, not only for his administration, but now under the Obama administration. So we are equal opportunity protesters, let us tell you that. But it is for the good of our country that we're doing this. If we allow criminals in our government to get away with criminal actions, it undercuts our whole system of justice. Thank you.
We have one more speaker.
I would like to introduce to you a leader in our veterans groups of the United States, a man who was in the Vietnam War and who is a part of Veterans for Peace and a strong, strong advocate of accountability. Ward Riley.
Good morning. Thank y'all for coming. My name is Ward Riley. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've been a member of Veterans for Peace since 1998, and we're an organization who stood in opposition to the invasion of both Afghanistan and Iraq after 9/11. We, as an organization, we laid out exactly what would happen if we did invade Iraq. We were correct. From a veteran's point of view, what the United States is committed is preventive warfare, which is the utmost war crime. The Nuremberg principles that were established after World War I, every single one of them has been broken by the policies of George Bush and Dick Cheney, and we think it's a crime that we're honoring a war criminal across the street with a $500 million building when he should be in front of The Hague. And I thank y'all for coming out. That's really all I have to say.